And we've been having the most astounding conversation. I mean, there is so much that I'm learning. I was doing some research on you, and you did a hip hop workshop. Tell me about that. The reason I'm asking you to tell me is because there were pieces of that workshop that I listened, that I read about, and how you were teaching the youth and teaching them about connection and community, and that we're all one, and we have to be that connection. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes, so I have been blessed to be in spaces. I was just saying this in another interview for the Living Histories Project. For some reason, I wound up in the middle of a thing every so often that would change the world. When I was coming up in the 80s, I was dead smack in the middle of the beginning of the hip hop culture. In Roxbury, then I went to New York and hung out there in the Bronx and in Manhattan with those hip hoppers. And I was there when the thing took off. And I knew the people who were the movers and shakers, the innovators of hip hop. These were people that I knew. And it was like, how could that happen, the timing of that? I was at the age where I could travel to New York at least and hang out there. Yes. And here in Roxbury and Dorchester, there was a flowering of the hip hop culture because the Latinx people that were moving from New York to Boston, they laid some of that on us, from the graffiti to the rapping to the DJing, the breakdancing. And I happened to meet those guys just because I was in. So it became very clear to me. Joe Richardson, Alex Garcia, Naheem Allah, that's what he calls himself now, Alex Garcia, Naheem Garcia.
Naheem.
We were all there at the beginning. And I noticed when I got a little older to start researching it myself, hip hop, I read a few books, one by Trisha Rose called Black Noise. Dr. Trisha Rose, for her dissertation at NYU, she wrote a book about hip hop culture. They thought she was crazy.
Oh, wow.
And it turned out to be a book that became a national bestseller. We call it the Bible of hip hop culture. I read that and I saw connections to what we went through in Roxbury, the kids in Philadelphia who grabbed on to hip hop, the kids in Chicago, the kids all over the country in all these urban communities. We all gravitated to this thing called hip hop because we were able to use our voice.
There. Use your voice. Use our voice.
In any way, whether it was through the electric boogie stuff, or if it was through actually rapping, or graffiti, or breakdance, we were able to use our bodies and our voices to tell our story. And even though at that time Reaganomics was going on and there was a lot of stuff going on with the war on drugs, we were able to counter that narrative by being these creative people. And we drew crowds everywhere we went.
Everywhere.
Lisa Lee that you had on, I think Lisa Wright is her last name. I think it's Wright is her last name. I'm not terribly sure. Lisa Lee, though, I know that.
There we go. That's what I know.
She is a rap artist.
Yes, she is.
And I remember we was downtown in between Macy's and Filene's. And we had this big block party that the mayor let us do down there.
Oh.
Mayor Flynn. And she was the MC for the afternoon. And there must have been 300 youth of color all surrounding Lisa Lee. And then I saw an old video of it. I don't remember doing this, but I got on the mic and told everybody to back up.
Give her some space.
Give her some space, and then we came out and danced. I don't remember dancing. I just remember seeing Lisa Lee and telling, I do remember something about crowd control, but I didn't know it was me. I was the one who told, back up, give her some space, let her do her thing.
Wow.
But we attracted crowds, we attracted interest. There was a Globe article about us. There were people who came and wanted to do documentaries on us.
See.
And so we didn't know at the time that we were in Boston promoting a culture that would now be global.
Global.
And now it is the #1 culture for youth. And it's like you can create a whole career and calling for your life around hip hop.
Yes. I need a question. Hopefully you can answer this. I know what hip hop is. I know about the culture of hip hop. But is there, and maybe I'm wrong, is there a negative about hip hop?
So I believe every cultural expression has a positive and a negative to it. And of course, I believe, if people are doing things in the videos that are not healthy, or
productive,
or they're
positive.
calling people out of their name, right? And all the other things that go on, then of course, that's the negative side. The positive side of it all is that you're giving young men and women of color an opportunity to go into studios and tell their story using, what I would say, using both hemispheres of the brain. This whole idea of it's called whole brain thinking.
Never heard that.
Dr. Roger Sperry, who won the Nobel Prize around split brain research, says that when you do poetry and you're doing something constructive with the poetry in terms of production, you're using all kinds of facets of your brain that are very powerful to use. So here you have these young people going in the studios telling their stories in this creative way. Then you have these break dancers who are using their bodies to defy gravity.
Oh.
Right? Okay. Like gymnasts. And then you have these graffiti artists that have the same mindset as a Paul Goodnight, but they're using cans and they're using spray paint instead of using pastels and all the other stuff.
Yes.
So my point is that hip hop, to me, entered into a space where you are expressing high art, low art, whatever kind of art you want to call it, and you're doing it in a way that can be healthy. Okay. And so if someone puts graffiti on my wall of my house, that's not a healthy way to use your spray paint.
Spray paint, yes.
If someone's rapping about someone and about how they're going to kill them or jack them up
or whatever,
that's not healthy. Now that can be looked at, some people will argue that's a metaphor. He's saying that as a metaphor, but no, if you just take the words for what they are, not healthy. Or they're using their body to be hypersexual in a way that promotes something that is not very becoming for young people to see.
Yes.
But if you take all the positive sides of the things I just mentioned, take your graffiti and put it on a canvas, or you get a commission to put your work on a wall. When it's legal, that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then if you're doing poetry, rap music that helps to affirm the community you're from, and talks about how hip you are in creative ways, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And then lastly, of course, if you're using your body to defy gravity,
okay,
and show people how you can fly on the ground like the floor lords do,
when I first started seeing that, I used to say, how do they do that? I could never understand it.
It's called angular momentum. Your body, when you are doing those spins, your body, the actual body becomes like a windmill.
Oh.
And that's what they call them, windmills. And the energy that's generated makes your body go faster, or it makes your body begin to defy gravity.
Oh my goodness.
It's you look at a breakdancer, you can see it. They start actually
Yeah,
flying off the ground.
That's why I asked that question. Like, how do they do that?
Yeah, it's wonderful.